Hey, if you're gonna run a wheel gun, a revolver double action, okay, this is a preferred revolver for defensive purposes. Single actions are great, but double action revolvers are a very viable weapon for defense. If you're gonna run one, you have to know how to reload the gun quickly, and what I'm talking about is using a speed loader. Okay, so there's a few techniques out there. Some people teach, the old FBI technique that once I run dry, okay, I'm going to transfer that gun to my weak hand, and I'm going to use my thumb on the ejector rod, okay, to dump those casings out. All right, and I've got rounds in the gun right now, so let me take those out so I can demonstrate, and then we'll do it live. FBI technique: I run dry, bring the weapon back to my workspace, I pop that cylinder open, I use my thumb to eject the casings as this strong hand is reaching for the speed loader, and then I come up, using gravity both ways, gravity here, down to get those out with my thumb, and then gravity up with the speed loader. Always use fingers ahead of bullet noses. All right, that helps guide the speed loader into place, and then once it's in, I don't fuck with it anymore. Some people you see, they do this and they pluck it out once it's done. Let that shit drop. All right, once the gun is loaded. All right, it's an extra step right there that you don't need to do, and it's frustrating to see that, but you got to train around it. So the technique that I use, that's the FBI technique, where you're coming up with your thumb and ejecting the casings. Technique that I use is the Masad Ayub stress fire technique. So once I'm dry, I bring the weapon back here, open the cylinder. Okay, I am still going to transfer the gun to my weak hand, but I'm going to use gravity, get that weapon completely, vertical to the deck, and with an open palm, I'm going to use my strong hand and strike, okay, downwards, one forceful stroke on the ejector rod. Boom, casings are out. Then I'm going to keep it up in my workspace using gravity as my friend again up in here. Speed loader, never grasp it here. You're always going to grasp it in such a manner where your fingers might be ahead of bullet noses. That's recommended. All right, or you're going to grab it by the body, okay, but don't grab it by this. It's not a handle. All right, so here my fingers guide. I don't have to look. My fingers kind of find where the flues are in the cylinder. It's going to pop into place, okay, and then I'm either going to push down, which you would do with a Safari Land, or you would twist with an HKS. Either way, I'm going to release those rounds into the cylinder, and then I'm simply just going to get my hand off the speed loader and begin to close up the weapon, because look what happens. Speed loader just drops, all right, and that's what we want. We don't care about retaining the speed loader. In an emergency, all right, that's the last thing we need to worry about. We need to get the gun back into action. So once I have released those rounds, like I said, I see people pluck it out or whatever. They do some kind of motion here instead of just letting the damn thing drop. So here, I'm just going to let it drop. Boom. Okay, it's not going to get in my way. It never has. It won't. So those are the two methods that I use. Stress fire technique. Another way you might see me do it is keeping the weapon in your firing hand the whole time. With both of those techniques, you transfer the gun, okay, to your weak hand, all right? Either way. The other technique, or the third technique, is I'm firing, I go dry, I open that up, and I keep the weapon in my firing hand. Still using gravity as my friend, I'm going to use my weak hand to stroke it one time, one downward strike. All right, the casings are going to eject. All right, then I'm going to still use gravity as my friend, keep the weapon in my firing hand. I'm going to use my weak hand to load the weapon. I'm going to keep that proper grip on the speed loader. I'm going to pop them in, let it fall, back in action. All right, so there's really three methods there. Practice all three. Get some dummy rounds or some spent casings, put them in your speed loaders, and practice all three, 10 minutes a day in your own house. But live fire, it should be It should be smooth. It should become muscle memory. And if you're going to commit yourself to carrying a revolver, you got to practice it. You have to, because there's some fine motor skills involved here. And you know, like I teach in my class, we lose fine motor skills in a gunfight. So when it comes to reloading a revolver, you know, we need to have it down pat, muscle memory, or you know, it's just not going to be very smooth. You know, obviously the fastest way to reload a revolver is to draw another loaded gun. That's going to be the fastest way. But these techniques are things that I wouldn't say were self-taught. Some of them were, but I learned them from, you know, Masad Ayub, or from old cops, or watching police training videos. You know, when I went to Gunsight Academy, Jeff Cooper's compound, you know, those instructors taught me a lot too. So let's see what it looks like full speed. And you know, I'm not going to say I'm going to do one method or another. I'm just going to roll with it and see, you know, what it looks like. Okay, so I'll start here, and I'm going to start with some hot magnum loads. We might see some muzzle flash. So from here, I'm going to go for that concealed draw and fire rapid fire. Go! All right, those are some heavy magnum loads. Let's go take a look at the target. All right, so those were 125 grain full magnum rounds out of the 586. And yeah, that's only 5 yards away with a speed reload, but you know, all 6 landed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, pretty good. All right, but the point is that with speed reloads, whether it's a semi-automatic or revolver, you got to practice it. You got to get out there, do it live, and you know, you have to commit yourself, you know, every day or every other day. Try it dry in the privacy of your own home with an unloaded gun. All right, with those speed loaders, excuse me, try those techniques out, and find out which one works best for you under stress. All right, so thanks for watching the video.